Hi, I'm Veronica, and in today's video I would like to talk a little bit about two languages, Spanish and Italian, because I know many people are hesitating whether they should choose Italian or Spanish and they don't know which language to choose. I am both an English speaker and a Polish language speaker natively, and I've been studying both of these languages from scratch, so I feel like I have a few words to say and maybe I can advise you and help you decide which language you should study if you don't know neither Spanish or Italian. I will compare both the grammar, the vocabulary, and the level of difficulty, as well as the advantages and disadvantages of learning both of these languages in this video. Let's start with the fact that both of these languages have 82% lexical similarity. So whether you choose to study Spanish or whether you choose to study Italian, you will already have an advantage because you will understand the context, you will understand around 50-60% of what people are saying. Of course, there are trillions of false friends, trillions of words that will confuse you because they will have completely different meaning, but it doesn't matter. These both two languages come from Latin. They both share cognates. According to some sources on the internet, both Italian and Spanish are on the list of 10 easiest languages to learn for English speakers. So I think the decision is really up to you. I feel like knowing these two languages influenced me positively in some way. Now I can communicate in Italian and I have a B2 level in Spanish. Before I go to the advantages and disadvantages, I want to briefly share my story and which language I chose. I chose Spanish because I had it in high school when I was 16. It was already available to me. I didn't have a chance to choose Italian. I was still a teenager at school, so for this reason Spanish was just easier choice for me. I had 2 45-minute classes per week, and additionally I really was interested in a language. I was interested to reach fluency faster than with those A1 level lessons for 3 years in high school. That's why I chose Spanish. But I think if you are not in school, if you have just hesitation whether you should choose Italian or Spanish, this video will help you decide which language you should study first for sure. No matter which language you choose, it will be definitely easier for you later to learn the other language. For example, if you now choose Spanish, once you reach the B1 level, let's say in Spanish, it will be way easier for you to pick up Italian because you will already know a lot of vocabulary and the grammatical structures. In my opinion, in my personal opinion, Spanish has easier grammar than Italian. Why? Because there is not so many articles. As much as, yes, you need to learn the irregular forms, you need to learn some of the more difficult grammatical structures like in any language. I think as now I am learning Italian from Spanish, knowing Spanish, in my opinion, Spanish had easier grammar. They don't have that many prepositions. They don't have to put all the apostrophes all the time, like nella, sulla, della, and so on. Like, this is still confusing aspect to me when learning Italian. Of course, both languages have genders, like Spanish has el, la, and Italian has way more because they also have lo, gli, el apostrophe, and many more. So in that context, in my opinion, Spanish grammar wins here because there is not too much rocket science there. Personally, I think Spanish is more useful as it is spoken in like 20 countries, I think. And knowing Spanish, you will have definitely a wider global reach. There is 543 million native Spanish speakers in the world, and Italian is mostly spoken only in Italy. Of course, there are other countries that Italian is spoken to, like some regions of Slovenia and some regions of Switzerland and some other countries, but still you have whole Latin America that speaks Spanish. So that was also one of the reasons why I chose to concentrate first on Spanish, because I knew that once I will do my travel to Latin America, which I've done in 2017, this language will be definitely for me more useful than Italian. Nevertheless, I think Italian is very beautiful language, so here it wins over Spanish. You know, all the vocals, all the gestures, all of the romance that goes behind this language is definitely an advantage and a motivator. The beautiful sound, the melodic phonetics, the expressions, all of this is an advantage of learning Italian over Spanish for sure. Italy also has rich cultural heritage. Of course, Spain also has, Latin America also has, but I feel like everyone knows about the Colosseum, everyone knows about Italian cities, the beautiful small streets and all of these aspects. So here choosing Italian over Spanish may be a big motivator for sure. About the job prospects, I think learning languages in general may enhance the work prospects, but depends really what you want to work with. Knowing Spanish definitely will benefit your work search, but depends what's your work. Maybe you work with fashion, so knowing Italian will definitely be more beneficial over knowing Spanish. So concluding, I think knowing any language in the world will enhance your job prospects, not only knowing Italian or knowing Spanish. In general, knowing 2 languages, I think, will enhance your work prospects. So no matter which language you choose, you will have benefit here. I choose personally Spanish because more people speak Spanish in the world than Italian. Nevertheless, if you work with fashion, I think go for Italian. If you don't work with fashion, if you just want to know another language that is spoken by over 500 million people, go for Spanish. That's just my personal opinion. Let me know your opinion in the comments below. I'd love to know actually what you think. Knowing both languages will definitely benefit you because they are both Romance languages, so then probably you will be able to pick up Portuguese faster, maybe French too. Both languages will have regional variation, so if you are one of those persons that is worrying that, oh my god, I will go to certain region of Italy or I will go to certain region of Spain where they will not understand me. No, I don't think it's this way. Whether you will go to a small region in Italy or a small, let's say, Galicia in Spain or some smaller different region, I don't know, in Latin America or on some Caribbean islands, doesn't matter. You know international language, I think everyone will understand you. You will not have big troubles communicating. Okay, you will need some time probably to get used to the maybe different accent or the actual dialect, but it's not like you know Spanish from Spain, you will go to Argentina and you will not understand anything. You will be able to communicate. I remember myself knowing the general Spanish. I didn't know Spanish from Argentina, let's say, and I went to Buenos Aires in 2017 and I was able to communicate. I already immersed myself in the language. I was watching some YouTube videos, I was watching people speaking in Argentinian Spanish, and I knew that more or less what they are saying, that they are using vos instead of tu, that there are some differences in the verbs, and I knew which verbs not to use to not cause confusion. If you know which verbs I mean, leave a like in the video. So it's not like you will not be understood in Argentina or in Cuba or in Dominican Republic. I remember when I arrived in 2017 to Dominican Republic, it was definitely more difficult to understand because they have very specific accent, but it's not like it's impossible. So never worry about the regional differences, the country, the dialects, the accents, because at some point you will pick them up. It's not like something impossible to achieve. You just need to immerse yourself. You already know the base, you know the language, which is international. So at some point you will definitely understand and immerse yourself and use the dialects too if you want to. Now I want to talk about the troubles between learning Italian and Spanish, because once you know one of the languages and you want to learn another one, there will be some difficulties that you will have to face. So once you will want to learn the other language, let's say you already know Spanish and you want to learn Italian like me, you will face the issue of the false cognates. So for example, in Spanish the tiger is el tigre, which is masculine gender, but in Italian it's la tigre, which is feminine gender. So that is really messing up my mind, and this will definitely cause you some problems later, but it's not something impossible to learn. It just requires more time, repetition and persistence. Talking about the false friends between the two languages as well, let's say burro means butter in Italian, but burro means a donkey in Spanish. The same happens also in other languages like Polish and Russian. As I know also Russian and I'm a Polish native speaker, I also face those difficulties at all times where something in Polish language means something completely different in Russian language. So the same will happen between Italian and Spanish at all times. Another example of those would be caro, which in Spanish means expensive, but in Italian it means dear. Or another false friend that would be sobrio, which means sober in Spanish, and sobrio, which means empty in Italian. So like you need to be careful when learning these two languages together, because there is lots of false friends and they will not be the easiest one to overcome. overcome, but not impossible. You just need to revise a lot, repeat, and listen to the language more, and then naturally you will understand and learn those. From the other hand, looking at the benefits now, there are too many similarities, so that makes the language not difficult to remember. Let's say you know already Spanish like me, and you know that the word la camisa means a shirt. In Italian it would be la camicia, or el amigo, which in Spanish is a friend, and in Italian that would be l'amico. So you see that it will be very easy to pick up one from another due to the similarities between the languages. The same happens with verbs: volar, volare, dormir, dormire. So it's not something that will cause you a lot of troubles later. So you have a big advantage whether you choose to learn Spanish first or Italian first, or just one of them, because later you will be able to learn another language, either Spanish or Italian or Portuguese, way faster than you thought because of the similarities with these two languages. So now guys, I would like to ask you, what do you think? What are the main challenges? Which language should people choose? Should they learn first Spanish or Italian? Which language is more important? Let me know in the comments down below, because I really would like to know your opinion. And if you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe and like the video to help me grow. I am a new YouTuber, so I will really appreciate your support. Nos vemos! Ciao!